Former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte was arrested in Manila today. The International Criminal Court, the ICC, issued a warrant accusing him of crimes against humanity over his deadly war on drugs. For more on how this news is resonating locally, we're joined by Kristina Corpin-Moser. She is the project director of Filipino B.C. Kristina, hi there. Good afternoon to you.
Hi there. Thanks for having me.
So for some of us who are unfamiliar with the Philippines' political history, why is Duterte's arrest so significant?
Yeah, I think it's significant because not only is he the first ex-leader of the Philippines, he's the first ex-leader within the region to be arrested on a warrant by an international tribunal. So it's significant in terms of the fact that it's never happened before.
Right. Well, but what effect did his policies have on those in the Philippines?
Sure, human rights groups estimate that, there could be anywhere up to 30,000 people who have been, murdered as a result of these extrajudicial killings. That being said, that's the case that's in front of the ICC. And this is really, about due process, and really protecting the institutions and the mechanisms that exist to bring these charges forward and bring potentially bring him to justice.
Right. Well, tell me more about the history. What was he like as a leader, and what did he do?
Yeah. So, Duarte, I would say, is a polarizing yet popular figure in the Philippines. Certainly, even now, the reactions to this news range from devastation to celebration within the Filipino community, both in the diaspora and at home. And so, I would say, the reactions are quite mixed. For those who are alleging these crimes, of course, we're talking about, human rights groups who have alleged and victims who have alleged that, this was less about a war on drugs and more about a war on the poor. That being said, for those unfamiliar with Filipino politics, the reality is that, he's still quite popular in the Philippines. And so both here and at home, I would say that his presidency, while mired with controversy, certainly has been internationally in many respects condemned, but he's been quite popular at home. Yeah, I don't know if I answered your question.
Well, I'm just you brought up something that, in your view, this so-called war on drugs wasn't a campaign against crime; it was a war on the poor. So, tell me more about that. How do you mean?
Yeah, so the allegations really are that whilst he targeted supposed drug users and drug addicts, that many of the people affected were mostly urban poor individuals, even if they were drug users or drug dealers, that really wasn't targeting high level organized crime, but rather like sort of low level poverty. Certainly there's also, allegations and claims that that many people who lost their lives were neither drug dealers or users.
Okay. No, I can hear you're choosing your words carefully here, and I understand that he's just been arrested. You talked about the effect of his policies on people living in the Philippines. Was there any effect on their families living abroad? And when I say living abroad, maybe here in British Columbia.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly, we have people who are here in British Columbia who have sought asylum, who have been, victims of red tagging. So this practice of, labeling people communists or political dissenters or enemies of the state, that live here. Um, I would say that, overall, there's sort of, um, while he's like while he's got widespread approval ratings in many cases, when you go policy by policy, um, the extrajudicial, the alleged extrajudicial killings are not seen as popular in terms of policy, right? So certainly there are people here who have been directly affected, um, people in the Philippines as well.
What do you mean, directly affected?
Yeah, so I mean, they're potentially on asylum claim here, or they are on asylum claim here, um, for being, political dissenters in the Philippines.
Okay. Duterte's daughter, Veronica, posted a video to Instagram today of her father questioning why he had been detained.
So, what is the law and what is the crime that I committed? To me now, the legal basis for my being here. So you have to answer now for the deprivation of liberty.
So that was a post by the daughter of former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte, asking why he had been detained. So, Kristina, finally, any words for the Filipino community here who are grappling with the impact that Duterte had on their lives?
Yeah. Look, our position is, as a Filipino but also a Canadian institution, right? That strong institutions are, a necessary condition for free and fair democracies. And so I think that regardless of, on what side of the political spectrum you find yourself on, within the Filipino community related to this issue, it's important that we protect the institutions that, like the ICC, so both, globally and also, within the Philippines, that allow for these charges to be brought forward. And this is, this is the due process that allows him to, sit and face trials for the alleged crimes against humanity that he which is the case before the courts today. And so I would just say that, especially in these times, it's important that these, these institutions are protected.
Well, thank you very much for your time today. We'll see where it goes from here and the impact on the community as well. We appreciate your time.
Thanks so much for having me again.
Kristina Corpin-Moser is a project director of Filipino B.C., reacting to the news that former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte was arrested in Manila today. The International Criminal Court accuses him of crimes against humanity over his deadly war on drugs.